Welcome to Sipping on Excellence. This is Coach KJ, and I'm here with my man, my dude, the Doc.
And this is where we will be discussing the exceptional that is absolutely attainable. My friends, here's to living that extraordinary life.
Cheers. What?
Well, what?
I got a pocket full of cash. I got everything.
We good?
I think we're good.
We good.
Are you guys good?
Because you might as well be, because we back for another in-your-face hitting episode.
I am.
Sipping on excellence.
I don't even know if I'm ready for today.
It's all right. It's a great conversation for what today is. We're recording this, y'all, on MLK Day, so you'll understand kind of where we're coming from in a minute. But we want to take this time to welcome all of our longtime listeners. And if you are new, I am Dr. Lionel Hunt, better known as Doc.
I am Coach KJ.
Kenneth Johnson, life coach.
Kenneth Johnson. People can't pronounce their THs.
Because believe it or not, people out there don't know what we do.
This is true.
And so
this is true.
I wanted to just throw that out there so you guys can understand kind of where we're coming from. Today's a special day. I saw something today that was posted and by some right winger.
Okay.
Name doesn't even matter, doesn't deserve to be mentioned, but was basically trying to say, why are we celebrating MLK Day when he was alive? Most people didn't like him. And got so much backlash from the left, the right, the center. Like everybody was denouncing this cat for that statement. And it was just, it made me realize that no matter what, there's always going to be haters.
Oh, yeah. Life does not move on without haters.
If he was such a disliked human being, why did he get the Nobel Peace Prize at 36?
Mm-hmm.
What were you doing at the age of 36?
Mm-hmm.
Damn sure wasn't getting no Nobel Prize.
What was that? 60.
A black man in America getting.
Was it 66?
Somewhere in the 60s. Yeah. Black, because he died at 39.
Right. So yeah, because
it had to be 63, 66, somewhere, because he died at what, 60?
68.
Yeah, so it had to be 65 then.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's a black man in America getting a Nobel Prize.
Peace.
Let that sink in.
Yeah. Let's take the time to think about that.
Yeah.
Brother.
So today we want to talk about something that has been in the media lately. And it's something that is always going to be debatable. And if you ask most black people how they want to be referred to, I don't know what most will tell you. A lot of people will say it's interchangeable. Some will say, when I refer to myself, I say I'm a black man. But when you refer to me, I want you to call me African American. Or in the workplace, I want you to call me African American.
Okay.
And so let's get into this debate. Because this is purely an American thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've traveled all over the world. I've been everywhere. And when I go places, I'm American. When I'm in America, I'm African American.
Mm-hmm.
I've never been in Africa and have somebody in Africa call me an African American. I've never been in Africa. I've been to Africa many times. I've never been in Africa and somebody call me black.
Mm-hmm.
I've only been in Africa and they call me American.
Mm-hmm.
So why is it that when I'm not in Africa, I come to America and they call me African American. Because everywhere else in the world, you're referred to by either the language you speak, the town you're from, the city you're from, the country you're from, your
Correct.
tribe you're from, your religion.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you are referred to. And so if somebody asks me, and this is going to be how I look at it, and y'all can hate me if you want. When people always ask me, so what's going on? What are you? I'm a black man. Born one, die one.
I say it every time.
You know? And that's just the nature of, because in America, how else am I going to refer to myself?
Mm-hmm.
You know? Um, why this is a hot topic? Because I think there is the ultra woke who always wants to be politically correct when politics has nothing to do with my identity.
Right.
Because my identity is how I see myself.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I mean, it's the American social perceptive
You know?
of how a person looks.
And so I've always been curious as to when, because when I was a kid, being called African American wasn't a thing.
No.
So I don't know when it became a thing.
Yeah. The
Like if you check all the boxes on any form, it says black non-Hispanic.
correct.
So at what point did African American become a checkbox?
Because if you look back, like if you have you looked at your birth certificate, it
Nope,
says Negro
I haven't looked at it.
because you were born in the 70s. We
Yeah.
were referred as Negro. Um, I think I was it Operation Push. Jesse Jackson really drove home, especially at that time he was running for president and everything. But he really pushed for. I think it started off as Afro American, then African American. But he really drove home, like trying to get home African American. Like this is what we want to be labeled.
But why? You know, I'm trying to understand. I heard a conversation on, it was either a post on Instagram or a podcast or something that I was listening to, that basically was saying African American is sort of what we should aspire to be. And I was just like, well, I'm missing something. Yeah.
We
And
should aspire to be African.
well, the reason why we should aspire to hold those values, because it's holding on to our ancestors,
Okay.
right? It's holding on to our ancestral heritage, right? And why shouldn't I want to be called African American when somewhere in my lineage it's from Africa, right? So I'm like, all right, well, my mom's from the Bahamas.
Mm-hmm.
They don't call them African Bahamian, you know. My dad's from St. Martin. They don't call them. I don't even know what they call them there. You're from, dude. You're from St. Martin. You know, you're from the Caribbean, but you don't call them. You know, if you're from Brazil, Afro Brazilian, you're just Brazilian
Yeah.
with darker skin.
Yeah. Well, do you know that I think it was in the late 60s, early 70s. The term using black was actually considered derogatory.
Mm-hmm.
And then we, of course, reclaimed it about black power, black beauty, black essence.
Right.
Like, that's when the term just being black became more powerful, had more substance for us.
So here's my question. Say I'm sitting here talking to somebody who's from Egypt.
Mm-hmm.
Egyptians are, for all intents and purposes, sort of Middle Eastern. They have a
Correct.
Middle Eastern look. They have, you know,
Even though they're African.
right. You know, you look at people in Morocco.
Mm-hmm.
They're Arabs.
Mm-hmm.
But if they live here, are they African American?
Good question.
Why wouldn't they be? Here's an even better question. Let's look at people like who was Tom Cruise's ex-wife?
Katie Holmes.
Nope, the one before her.
Oh, drawing a blank on her name.
She's South
The blonde.
African.
Oh, no.
You know who I'm talking about?
No, she's Australian.
Australian. What's her name's from South Africa?
You're thinking about Charlize Theron.
Yes,
She's
South African, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is she African American?
Mm,
If you're talking about purely from your ancestral heritage,
correct.
and if you really want to really get deep, because all of us who are black in America and most of the world will tell you, where did civilization begin that we know it today? The oldest human being, human remains, Lucy, found where? Ethiopia. So if you want to claim sort of Africa as your ancestral background, then why isn't everybody African?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so help me understand why I have to be something other than American. Now, if you need me to delineate and say, okay, I'm a black American, you're a white American,
You're Mexican American.
you're an Asian American,
right.
whatever it may be, or Hispanic American,
Yeah.
whatever you want to be, you know, or you're just a lighter skinned American, I'm a
Right.
darker skinned American.
And also, can you say Jewish American? Because Jewish is a religion.
Correct.
Mm. I mean, if we go there.
Are you going to say Muslim American?
Correct.
Are you going to say
So now
Christian
we're-
American?
Yeah.
Are you going to say, atheist American?
Yeah.
Are you going to say Buddhist American? And so why are we the only country that has to hyphenate shit?
But hyphen only non-white.
Yeah. Nobody says Irish American, Finnish American. Nobody says Swedish
Right.
American. Nobody says English American.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
So please help me explain why. I mean, help me not even explain. Help me understand why this is such. I mean, if you really, as you dig deeper into it, you really start understanding what a crock of shit this is.
right. And what's funny is as we're having this conversation, both of us, the brain is just churning of how deep that is unnecessary.
Yeah, and it's a social construct that's set up, and y'all we're gonna pub another book. Go read Isabella Wilkerson's book, Cast.
Yeah.
Go
Yeah.
read that
That's
book.
a must read.
That should be on your top 5 list, but she breaks this down great,
Mm-hmm.
but I think it's so baffling as to how people get so up in arms when somebody refers to you as black or white. I look at white people, they ain't white. Nobody's the color white.
Correct.
I ain't black. I mean, your shirt is black.
Correct.
That ain't me. But there's no way to sort of delineate. You can say I'm darker skinned.
Mm-hmm.
I got a little more melanin than you. But we always have a need to identify based on race and color. And
It's labeling.
yeah,
It's a continuous labeling so we can move these people to this category, move these people to this category.
it's a it's a caste system without being a caste.
Correct.
It's because God forbid that we label people by wealth status or by,
Mm-hmm.
like in India, by their names.
Mm-hmm.
Different parts of that country, depending on, and this is kind of everywhere. Most countries, the darker your skin, the less valuable of a human you are considered.
And that is
across
the world.
Right.
Cuba.
But when you go to India and you'll see people much darker than me, they don't call them black Indians.
Right. They're treated as such.
Yeah, but they're just Indian.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
I mean,
know,
we
there may
and
be separations versus there's separations versed on caste and religion and some other things, but when 90+% of the population is Hindi, then it's just kind of
yeah. I mean, if you think about it, America, we talk about this all the time. It's it's it doesn't have its own identity
nope
because
at all.
no one came from here except for the indigenous people
Yeah, the Native
that were
Americans.
Native Americans that were here that we stepped all over.
But you can't even call them Americans. You have to call them Native Americans.
Correct. Because they're non-white.
And here's the funny part. Why aren't Canadians American? It's still
They're
North
still in
America.
America.
Why aren't Mexicans American? They're still in
Hmm.
North America. Why aren't people from Chile American? They're from South America. They can be South American. We're North American.
Chile American.
Dude, so these names, you can see how ridiculous it can get. And when people get so pissed off that they're calling you something else, it just it makes no fucking sense to me.
It's a lot of wasted energy.
Yeah. Dude, I'm black man. Leave it at that. Don't get mad at me because I called myself that.
Hmm.
What are you, dude? I'm white. Okay, cool. And we just keep it moving. It doesn't matter. Because when I travel everywhere else, prime example, I'm in Serbia.
Okay.
Oh, dude, you're American. That's it. Nobody called me African American. And I'm in, you know, Eastern Europe.
And it's like, why is that so important here? Why is that? What 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 service is that to you?
What does it prove? What are we getting from that to be saying, you know what? I'm gonna beat on my chest as African American. I can't just be a proud black man no matter where I am in the world.
I heard someone speak. I think they were on like Bill Maher or something like that. And this guy wrote this book about the systems in America and everything. And what he was saying was that one of the reasons why, especially like Mexican American, you know,
Mm-hmm.
the Mexicans that have immigrated here, so on and so forth, they tend to go towards the right a lot of times because they don't necessarily label them. They more or less put them, say, oh, the agricultural or the working class or this. The ultra woke, everybody's labeled down to their socks.
Yeah, not realizing that, not paying attention to that. The whole Southwest U.S. used to be Mexico.
Yeah, yeah,
You know,
yeah, yeah,
just saying.
yeah, yeah.
You know,
But he was saying it's like they like the idea when they come here, they want to be a part of. So the idea of being a part of is I'm here, I'm labeled based off of my work, not because of the color of my skin or
instead of always trying so hard to be separate.
right,
You know,
right.
and don't get me twisted, y'all. I am proud to be exactly who I am.
Mhm.
I would not want to be you. And I don't care who's listening. I don't want to be you because I'm so happy to be me. I'm happy with the skin I'm in. I'm happy to be a black man. I'm happy to be African American if that's what you want to call me. You want to call me a nigga, I'm happy to be that too.
Yeah, yeah,
You know, you just can't call me that.
right. You sure can't.
You know?
I
And
mean, think about it. But even as black folk, no
I'm gonna
matter
catch a lot of
what
I'm gonna catch
happens,
a lot of heat for that one.
he
I don't
ain't
care.
got he ain't got some heat for that. They know because that's how powerful we are. Because no matter what you tell me what I am, I'm gonna claim it and claim the power of it. You're gonna call us a nigger. Oh, what's up, my nigga? We're gonna pull power back out of that.
Exactly.
You know, um, the whole idea of labeling black man. Oh, he black. But you know
Yep.
what? Yep.
Sure am.
So I'm gonna reclaim that power. I'm gonna take it back. You ain't gonna get me.
The problem is, and this is what I heard somebody say. When you hear somebody say I'm a black man, it always gives a connotation of something less or
Yeah.
something less than, something angry, something ghetto, something poor, something marginalized. But when somebody says, "Oh, I'm African American," it sounds more
Official.
prestigious, official. It's the same shit. Don't be fooled. Whether I call myself African American or black, I get treated the same way. I get looked
Hmm.
at and treated as less than. And
And
so
mhm,
it's not about what you call me. It's all about how I feel about myself and how I carry myself,
mhm.
you know? And I get sick of people just trying to make me feel some kind of way about how I think about myself. It's crazy. People will try to
Yeah,
when
I get what you're
when
saying. Yeah,
people when you're proud of something like when people like the guy who said you guys talk about being black a lot.
that's what I
Well,
know.
motherfucker, I am black.
That is what I know.
You know? Oh, and it comes off a little angry. Does it come off as angry or does it come off in your face because you feel some kind of way?
Hmm.
We're always labeled the angry black man or the angry black woman because we don't take your shit,
Right.
you know? And if we don't take your shit, are we really the angry? Mm-mm.
No.
I'm only angry when you when you come at me,
Right.
you know?
Right.
Come at me and it's on.
Right.
I'm not going to sit there and take it. Before I had a platform, before I had a job, before I had respect in the workplace or before my profession, I used to swallow it because you got to do what you got to do till you can do what you want to do,
This is true. Yeah.
you know? And there were many things that could affect my growth. So I had to just, now I like to say all the time, I'm uncancelable,
Right.
you
Right.
know?
Right.
And the reason why I'm uncancelable is because I choose to be, if you
I,
really think
I
about
mean,
it.
think about it. I'm not the smallest guy in the world. I'm dark skinned, considered dark skinned. So long, I had to address the world a certain way, to keep people, you know, a little less defensive.
Right.
I'm protecting their sanity, their space, and I'm like, you know what? I'm too old for this shit. I'm too old for it. You know what? You ain't gonna get me.
I was having a conversation the other day when we were talking about this and I was talking about it with somebody else. There's going to come a time when somebody's you're not going to be able to tell somebody's makeup. Right now, there's so much mixing of the races. There's so much mixing of cultures, not just ethnic background, but religious cultures. There's so much mixing of things that let's keep it simple.
Yeah.
My brother's kids, black on his daddy's side, German Italian on the mama side.
Wow.
What are they?
American.
But guess what? What are they going to be looked at as?
Black kids.
And they can identify however they want, but at the end of the day, because what society says is they're little black boys,
Mm-hmm. Color of their skin, the kink in their hair. You're a little black boy.
And so we talk about that and we like, look, you are can be proud of all of your heritage, but society's going to see you as this, so you have to be aware. You don't have to change who you are or act a certain way, but you got to be aware that society's going to come at you different.
Mm-hmm.
Whether you want to call yourself African American, I want to call myself biracial, triracial, because you got three different,
Right.
and who knows? My family's all mixed up, So it's what do there's the whole Asian aspect to my family. There's a whole lot that's
Okay.
mixed in. What do you call people? So you look at them and say, okay, I got to put you in some box. All right, then just call me a black man because I'm black no matter where I go.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but I happen to
There's no
be
escaping
born.
that.
I happen to be born in America, so that's American is my nationality. Black is my race.
Right.
Africa is where we all came from.
All of us.
So, how do you want me to be identified? From where we all came from? By my race or by my nationality?
Mm-hmm.
Depends on where I am. You want to call me American? Absolutely, because that's where I'm from. My passport says that. That's what my birth certificate says. My race is the way I look. I'm black, so that's what society sees. The society doesn't know that I'm African. Society doesn't know that my heritage is from, the Caribbean. We're first
Right.
generation born here.
Okay.
Society doesn't know that unless I
Okay.
tell them. I go to Ethiopia and everybody thinks I'm Ethiopian because they say I look Ethiopian. I'm like, and I always say this, aren't we all? Like I mentioned earlier. And so and like how you're laughing, everybody starts to laugh,
Yeah. Yeah.
and so this ridiculous debate on what we should be called, it shouldn't be a fucking debate. It really should not be a debate. White people don't debate on what they should be called.
No.
Asian people don't get debated on what they should be called.
When you said that, it made me think about that guy. I think he was in New York, and he was wearing looked like a Redskins shirt,
Mm-hmm.
but it said Caucasians. It was a white man's face on it,
Mm-hmm.
and just said Caucasians. And
He
boy,
caught
he
heat, didn't
got heat. He said, "It's just a shirt, just a shirt." But
he? And here's something else that I heard the other day, and I was like, why is this so? A guy was saying that it was offensive to minorities to ask them where they're from. Like if you look like you're from somewhere other than here, like your heritage is, Pacific Islander, or if you look like, oh, you might be Laotian, or you might look like you're from somewhere else. Why is it offensive if somebody says, hey man, where are you from? Oh, I'm from here. Cool. What's your background?
right,
Oh, well, my family's this. That's not offensive. It's just
it's
I'm trying to get
identification.
to
Yeah.
somebody may look at you like, Kenny, where are you from? Oh, you from here? Family's all from here? Cool. Now I know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, if you go back 15 generations, I may be from Nigeria. I don't fucking know. I didn't ask you that. I'm just in general. Where are you from, man? You know? And I always say I'm born here, raised here. My parents are from the Caribbean. Done. Because what does that do? It allows, especially other people from the Caribbean, immediately are like, oh, I know how this guy was raised. I now know something about him. If somebody says, oh, like my buddies, oh, I'm from, you know, Taiwan. Oh, it tells me a little bit about you.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you're from the Philippines. Oh, you're from Croatia. Oh, okay. So it's these little things that you're like, oh shit, okay. And it's just another nugget of information to separate people from one another that adds a little color to life.
Yeah.
But I think people forget how important it is to celebrate differences without having to say, oh, I identify this way and I want you to call me this and I'm going to call you the same thing because that's what you should be called.
The labels. Going
And
back to the
and I
labels.
think Cameron caught so much heat
Right.
when he was like, dude, I'm black. I'm not African American. I'm black. Why he caught so much heat is stupid.
Yeah.
If that's what that man wants to be identified as, then let him identify as that. But
I wonder if it worked out differently if he said, I like to be identified as black as opposed to African American versus saying, I'm not African
right,
American.
but where he also caught heat was when he said Africans don't like us anyway. They think they're better than us. And that's where he caught heat.
Oh, Yeah, well,
I'm like,
yeah,
dude, we were following you until you just
yeah, you should have stopped.
you should have just said, I don't want to be.
You should have pumped the brakes.
Yeah, and I'm just like,
Yeah, yeah,
bruh, I was with you. I was with you
yeah.
until you went there. But I
Yeah.
think these are conversations that should be had. And here's the funny part. Nobody ever asked somebody, when's the last time you asked somebody like, what do you want to be referred to as? Never.
No.
You just make an assumption based on an appearance.
Hmm.
We all do.
Hmm.
You know, every Asian person, oh, you're Chinese. No, they're not. Every black person, you're African. Not really.
Yeah. You're gonna have to see American Fiction.
You
You'll
know,
you'll enjoy it.
and so, but I'm just saying,
Yeah.
it's these,
No.
it's these things that nobody thinks about, but we all assume, and we go about our day assuming this person's that, this person's that, this person's that. For example, you see an Hispanic person in here in California, people automatically assume they're Mexican. You flip that and go to Florida, you automatically assume they're Cuban. It's an assumption, and it's a shitty assumption that shouldn't matter, but it's just the nature of it's just human nature. And right or wrong, I think it's dumb. You know, if you think it matters to you, then ask them,
Hmm.
hey man, where are you from? And don't get
Simple.
offended. If somebody comes and asks me, man, where are you from? I'm not offended. I'm just gonna be like, dude, I'm from here. Somebody asked me that today, man, where are you from? I was like, I was born, I grew up in Florida.
Yeah.
You know, I was born in Michigan, but I was like, I grew up in Florida. They're like, oh no, where's your family from? Oh, West Indies, man. Okay, cool.
That's
Done.
it.
And that gives context.
Yeah.
I didn't say, oh, I'm from Africa, because I'm not. I'm really, as far back as I can remember, I'm not.
Correct.
You look at my family tree, I'm not. So why am I going to say that I'm from there? And I get that. I get when people say that, you know. But if that's how you need to label me, I'm black. Oh, that makes you uncomfortable when I say I'm black. All right, well, I'm African American. Whatever's going to make this interaction more comfortable for you, I'll tell you that's what. Yeah.
Hmm.
Because for some reason, it's so funny too to see non-black people try to get black out of their mouth, and they're looking at you like, not when they're talking about you, but when they're talking about somebody else who's black, they'll say black. They'll go like African, and they're
Like
trying
they're
to
in
get
trouble.
right. They're trying
Yeah.
to get to gauge: is he going to be pissed off if I say black, or is he going to be pissed off if I say, what do I do? Say what comes natural to you.
What I
Just don't say the N word.
what I find interesting though is like you said, that woke person or that uncomfortableness that they have. No matter what happens, it's like the conversation they're having between each other in that moment, and we're still on the sidelines, just like
Yeah,
we're not even involved in the
in that conversation.
in that conversation. They're making the decisions on our behalf of what we should be.
And it goes back to, man, just communicating how to have a conversation, the uncomfortable conversation that people need to be having. And I think on this MLK Day, people need to understand that these conversations are important
Mhm.
and they shouldn't just end today. You don't talk about it today and then you don't talk about it again until
Yeah,
2025,
right.
you know?
For your next post.
Yeah, it should be something that is talked about on a regular
Right.
basis. As long as it's part of the conversation, it'll become less and less uncomfortable. You
Th-
know,
They're just conversations,
dude, talk
man.
to your white friends, talk to your people that don't look like you. Me having this conversation with Coach means absolutely nothing if all of y'all aren't listening,
Right.
because we're comfortable with what we are,
I
but
have that.
we're allowing
No
you
problem.
right, we're allowing you guys in on the conversations that we have. And that's the whole point of this conversation today, is to give you some insight coming from black men that it's not that serious. People say, well, we fought all these years to be called African American. Who fought? What did we fight for? A change in name?
Right. A label that you put on documents.
Yeah, that's you're fighting for the wrong shit
Yeah.
because you fought so hard to be called African American and we still don't have shit. All you did was change the name.
Oh my goodness.
You gave something else for people to have conversations about,
Right.
but yet it didn't. The name changed, but the game still stays the same, and we're still losing that motherfucker big.
Mhm.
We're not winning. We're not.
Which is, we go back to Dave Chappelle. You know,
Yeah,
he got a lot of heat
yeah,
for certain things he said.
yeah. But we're still not.
Uh,
We're playing the game a little better,
yeah,
but we're still way behind.
yeah, yeah.
You know,
As a race of people,
we are way
we're
behind.
we're way behind.
People still treat us as second class citizens.
We're still dial up.
I'm a surgeon. I'm going to say this one more time. I'm a surgeon and still get treated like a second class citizen. I can save your life, but you treat me like shit on a regular basis. You don't think it happens? I'm telling you, it does.
Believe me,
That's why we were having this conversation,
I get the conversations.
and I'm not afraid to speak on it because, like I said earlier, uncancelable. You don't want to come see me? I don't care. I'll take care of the people that want to.
Mhm.
You don't want to hear what I'm saying? Turn this shit off. Right? And I'm going to keep saying that.
Yeah.
We're going to keep coming at you like we should. The Mickey Mouse shit that everybody else talks about that's unimportant for clickbait. Yeah, that's not why we're here.
No, no. And that's how we growing.
Got asked today in a meeting, why? Why this podcast? Why? Why are we doing the podcast? You know, it's for moments like this right here. Because we can have an uninterrupted conversation about shit that really matters. And if one person gets something from this, then the podcast was worth doing.
I agree.
Do I need to have the Joe Rogan numbers? It would be nice
It'd
that
be wonderful.
people could hear that many people could hear the shit that we talk about because there's a lot more people that do need to hear this. But the one person that really needed to hear it, if they heard it and got something from it, then we've won. And so what's the why? That's the why. So Sipping on Excellence is here because of that right there.
And
And
that is what Sipping on Excellence is about. It is learning how to get out of your way. It is learning how to have those uncomfortable moments become a little more comfortable.
and as we progress from today, understanding what today meant and means, and moving forward to tomorrow when it's no longer a bank holiday, I got the day off, all that stuff.
Right.
That means nothing. What's important going forward is to understand that change was made, but so much more change needs to come. And it's going to come. Things will change. It's just up to everybody to decide if we want it to change for the better or for the worse.
Right.
Because it's coming.
Yeah.
Change going to come.
Isn't it interesting that it literally was 100 years
Yeah.
from emancipation to Civil Rights Act? Literally 100 years.
And
100 years for that level of change.
yeah. And unless the younger generation, because we realistically have changed what we could.
Mm-hmm.
We can still be a voice, but the way that my parents' generation makes change now is by guiding my generation to guide the next generation.
Mm-hmm.
Because if we were talking about kids the other day, all you can do as a parent is lay the foundation, but you got to build a strong foundation. That kid is going to remodel that house a million times. But if the foundation is there, they're always going to build something on that foundation.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll add rooms, they'll add a bathroom, they'll take away a room, they'll change the roof, they'll put new AC, they'll do all these things. But that slab of concrete foundation, if it's rock solid, it ain't going nowhere.
That's a good analogy. Ooh.
But if you don't build that foundation,
Right.
if you're the parent that doesn't, because they're like, at some point in time, you don't have control over your kids anymore. They grow up. But they still build on that base. They always will remember home
Mhm.
unless you didn't provide that home for them. And that's your fucking fault. It's that simple. That's your fucking fault.
Right.
If you are a shitty parent, then your kid will be shitty. And the reason why is because he will have no foundation to build on, because he won't know how to build a foundation.
Mhm.
The foundation doesn't come as an adult. You can't build a foundation as an adult. You build the foundation. Your parents build the foundation for you.
What is the old term they say? You got it honest.
You know, it's just, and more people need to understand that. You know, it's just stop blaming everybody else. And when your parents have done all they can, stop blaming your parents for you turning out shitty. The foundation's great,
Right.
but you blame your parents for not building your house for you. Build your own fucking house. It's that simple. Build it. Anyway, I can go on and on and on, man.
Yeah.
This shit is
Yeah. But
many more conversations to come regarding just all of this. We got a lot of shit to say. We got a lot of shit to talk about. And this is Sipping on Excellence.
This is definitely sipping on excellence. This is what it's all about.
Welcome to us. Man, oh man, oh man. You know, it's just deep for y'all.
Yeah. Deep, but it's very simple.
Yeah.
Very, very simple.
It's not hard, man.
No.
It is not hard.
No.
It is not hard to do the right thing. People will test you. People will try to make life hard. But if you always do the right thing, or you aim to do the right thing, it's not hard. Life becomes real simple at that point.
Right.
Man, Coach, where they gonna find you, man?
They're going to find me at Coach KJ Knows on Instagram at CoachKJ.com. Doc, where they going to find you?
At Leonel Hunt on Instagram and huntspine.com. You're going to find us both at SOE_podcast, and you're going to find us both on podcastsoe.com. Check us out every Wednesday. New episodes.
Every Wednesday.
Every Saturday, we do a warm-up show. It is not the podcast. It is a warm-up to the podcast. All right, you guys, 11 o'clock on Saturdays. We out.